Plymouth at -2 degrees Celsius, whilst Aberdeen sits at 3 degrees above freezing. That's not a misprint. Cornwall colder than Scotland. Is your area about to face the most unusual temperature pattern we've seen this winter? Right now, the Met Office has yellow rain warnings covering Devon, Somerset, Dorset, and parts of Hampshire, affecting over 3 million people across the southwest. Many rivers are still above normal levels following Storm Chandra, and within the next 4 minutes, I'll give you exact timing for when the next band of heavy rain arrives in London, Manchester, Birmingham, Glasgow, Cardiff, and Belfast. But first, drop your location in the comments right now, because tomorrow I'll be providing personalized forecasts for your specific area, and what is developing for early February is something we need to discuss in detail. London, you are looking at rain arriving around lunchtime Thursday, heaviest between 2 and 6 in the afternoon, clearing to showers by midnight. Manchester, your wet weather holds off until Thursday evening, arriving around 8 o'clock, continuing overnight into Friday morning. Birmingham, similar timing to Manchester, rain from 9 Thursday evening, blustery conditions developing. Glasgow, you've already got showery rain this morning from that southeasterly wind, but the main band arrives Friday morning around 6, possibly turning to snow over higher ground. Cardiff, Thursday afternoon from 3 o'clock onwards, persistent rain, could see 20 to 25 millimeters in some spots. Belfast, midnight Thursday into Friday brings your heaviest rain, with the Met Office warning of 40 to 60 millimeters possible over the hills of County Down and Antrim. Now hear what concerning meteorologists today. We're not dealing with one system. We are dealing with a pattern that going to persist. Low pressure sitting west of Ireland is driving this weather front northeastwards through Thursday, but behind it, there's another system queuing up for Friday and another for the weekend. The jet stream has taken this unusual southwesterly track, funneling moisture directly at us from lower latitudes. It's relentless. The areas that have already suffered through Storm Chandra are about to be tested again. Let me show you what the models are currently indicating. The Met Office Unified model has this rain band moving through quite swiftly Thursday afternoon and evening, clearing by Friday morning for southern areas. But the European model, the ECMWF, is slightly slower, keeping rain across the Midlands and Wales until Friday lunchtime. This 12-hour difference matters enormously if you are in Leicester, Nottingham, or Derby. It's the difference between a wet morning commute and a dry one. We'll have much better clarity on this by tomorrow morning's model runs, so do check back. The rainfall totals are where we need to pay attention, generally 10 to 15 millimeters across the warning zone. That doesn't sound dramatic, does it? But here's the compounding problem. The ground is saturated, river levels are elevated, drainage systems are struggling, so even modest additional rainfall can trigger localised flooding. The sensitivities are high. This is why the Met Office has issued warnings for amounts that normally wouldn't warrant them. And there's a second concern. Across parts of the southwest, particularly exposed coastal areas with that onshore breeze, we could see 20 to 25 millimeters. Some computer models are even suggesting isolated spots might reach 30 millimeters. That would be rather significant given current conditions. For those of you in Northern Ireland, your situation develops differently. The same weather system that affects England and Wales on Thursday will reach you around midnight, continuing through Friday. The concern here is orographic enhancement. As that moisture-laden air is forced up over the hills of County Down, County Antrim, the Sperrins, we're re-looking at potential totals of 40 to 60 millimeters. Surface water flooding becomes likely in this scenario, especially in areas with poor drainage. Derry, you will see rain arriving around 2 in the morning Friday, heaviest through the morning rush hour. Newry, similar timing, with the morns likely to see the highest totals. Now, let's talk about Scotland, because there is something rather unusual developing here. Edinburgh and Glasgow, you've had this chilly southeasterly wind all week, haven to you. Low cloud, some showery rain, temperatures struggling. That continues Thursday. But as this weather system pushes northwards Thursday night into Friday, it's going to encounter the colder air that has been sitting across Scotland. And when mild, moist air meets cold air, we get snow. Above about 200 to 250 meters initially, possibly falling to lower levels by Friday morning. The freezing level could drop to 200 to 300 meters. So Braemar, you might wake up to snow Friday morning. Southern uplands, definitely some wintry conditions developing. Even the Pennines could see snow over the tops. It won to be significant accumulations for most, but it's worth noting if you are traveling over higher routes. Aberdeen, Inverness, you are in a slightly different pattern. That northeasterly wind keeps you drier Thursday, but colder. Temperatures around 4 to 5 degrees. By Friday, as the system reaches you, there's potential for some snow even at lower levels, though confidence isn't high on exact amounts. The models are still wavering on this. Fort William and the Western Highlands, you will see milder conditions winning out. So rain rather than snow, but it'll be heavy at times Friday afternoon. Brighton, Southampton, Portsmouth, you're on the southern edge of this warning zone. Rain Thursday afternoon, heaviest between 4 and 7 in the evening. Dover and the Kent coast, similar story, with blustery conditions and winds gusting to 60 or 70 kilometres per hour in exposed spots. Bristol and Bath, rain from 1 o'clock onwards, persistent through the evening. Exeter and Plymouth, earlier arrival from late morning. But here where I need you to pay attention if you are in Devon or Cornwall. Friday brings another system, potentially even wetter than Thursday S. The latest ECMWF run is showing quite a nasty-looking low pressure developing Friday afternoon, tracking right across the southwest. If that verifies, another warning could be issued. Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, your Thursday stays predominantly dry with that chilly easterly breeze off the North Sea. Temperatures only reaching 6 or 7 degrees, feeling colder in that wind. Rain arrives Thursday night around 11, continuing into Friday morning. Some sleet or wet snow possible over the North Pennines. Scarborough and the Yorkshire coast, similar conditions, dry Thursday, wet Thursday night. Leeds, Sheffield, York, you're in an interesting position. The rain arrives Thursday evening, probably between 8 and 10 o'clock, but it is showery rather than persistent. The heavy stuff stays south of you. Friday looks unsettled with further showers, but not the prolonged rain that southern areas will see. Bradford and the Pennine towns, watch for some wintry conditions over the tops Friday morning. Liverpool and the Merseyside area, rain from Thursday evening around 7 o'clock, blustery overnight. Chester, similar timing. The winds pick up overnight Thursday into Friday, westerly winds gusting to 70 kilometres per hour, possibly 80 on the coast at Blackpool. Not storm force, but certainly noticeable, especially if you are in an exposed area. Let me address something that several of you have been asking about in recent videos. What about next week? What about early February? And this is where the forecast becomes genuinely interesting. All three major models, the Met Office, the American GFS, and the European ECMWF, are showing a significant pattern change around the 7th, 8th, 9th of February. We're talking about 10 days out, so please treat this with appropriate uncertainty, but the signal is strengthening. High pressure looks like it wants to build to our north, potentially over Scandinavia or even Greenland. If that happens, and it is still a considerable if, we do see winds backing to northerly or northeasterly, and given how cold continental Europe is right now, that would bring a major temperature drop. The GFS ensemble, which I checked this morning, is showing increasing agreement on below average temperatures from around the 8th of February onwards. Not all the ensemble members, but a significant majority. The ECMWF ensemble is showing something similar. The operational ECMWF run from yesterday was actually showing what meteorologists call a polar low developing, a small but intense area of low pressure moving south from the Arctic. These can bring very heavy snow, strong winds, and dramatic temperature falls. Now, the chances of that exact scenario playing out are slim, but it demonstrates the type of pattern we might be entering. What does this mean practically? Well, for the next week to 10 days, expect unsettled conditions to continue. More rain, more wind, temperatures around average or slightly below, generally 5 to 9 degrees for most areas. Nothing particularly cold by winter standards, but not mild either. Then, potentially a sharp change. If that blocking high does establish, we could see a proper cold spell, possibly the coldest conditions of the winter so far. There's even a chance of snow, particularly if we get moisture coming in from the Atlantic meeting that cold continental air. But I cannot stress enough, we are at the limit of reliable forecasting here. This could easily change. Check back tomorrow, because if the midnight model runs continue showing this pattern, confidence will increase significantly. Oxford, Cambridge, you have got dry weather Thursday morning, rain arriving early afternoon, clearing to showers by late evening. The Fens might see some fog Thursday morning with those clear skies we've had overnight, so drive carefully. Norwich and the East Anglia coast, that southeasterly wind keeps you cooler Thursday, around 6 degrees. Rain Thursday afternoon, but not as heavy as areas further west. Nottingham, Leicester, Coventry, rain Thursday evening from about 7 o'clock, continuing overnight. Derby, you might see some sleet mixing in over higher ground Friday morning if temperatures drop as expected. The East Midlands generally stays on the milder side of that rain-snow boundary, but it'll be close. Swansea and the South Wales coast, similar situation to Cardiff. Rain Thursday afternoon, quite blustery, clearing Friday morning to sunshine and showers. Aberystwyth expect rain Thursday evening, continuing overnight. The Brecon Beacons could see some snow on the highest peaks Friday morning. Bangor and North Wales, rain arrives later around midnight Thursday, continuing Friday morning. Snowdonia will almost certainly see snow above 400 metres. Now, one thing that concerns me most about this pattern is the persistence. We are not getting those breaks we normally see. Usually a low pressure system moves through, we get a ridge of high pressure, a day or two of calmer weather, then the next system arrives. But the jet stream configuration is preventing that. We relocked into this southwest to northeast flow, and it's just system after system. The Atlantic is basically a conveyor belt of weather fronts at the moment. This is why, even though individual rain amounts aren't exceptional, the cumulative effect is significant. For those asking about the weekend, Saturday looks showery for most areas with temperatures 7 to 10 degrees. Sunday starts similarly, showers in the morning, but potentially drier in the afternoon for eastern areas. Western Scotland and Northern Ireland will probably stay showery. It's not a washout weekend, but you'll need the umbrella handy. The Channel Islands and southern coastal areas, Jersey and Guernsey, catch the southern edge of Thursday-s rain, heaviest Thursday evening. The Isle of Wight sees rain Thursday afternoon and evening. The Scilly Isles, being first in line, get rain from Thursday morning, continuing intermittently through the day. Let me just clarify something about those snow forecasts for Scotland. We're not talking about major accumulations at low levels. This is elevation dependent. If you in Glasgow city centre or Edinburgh, you will see rain, not snow. It's the hills and mountains where we'll see wintry conditions. Inverness might see some wet snow mixing in Friday morning, but settling is unlikely. The real snow will be above 300 metres. The Cairngorms, yes, good snow there. The Highlands, definitely wintry. But urban Scotland, rain. The winds are another factor. Thursday night into Friday, strong westerly winds develop across Wales, the Midlands, and Northern Ireland with gusts to 70 or 80 kilometres per hour in exposed areas. Enough to make driving difficult on higher routes, potentially some minor tree damage in areas still recovering from Storm Chandra. The Irish Sea will be particularly rough with gales affecting Holyhead and Fishguard ferry routes. The North Channel between Scotland and Northern Ireland, very rough conditions developing Thursday night. There's one location that could see something quite unexpected over the next week. The Scottish borders, you are right on that boundary between milder Atlantic air and colder continental air. Galashiels, Howick, Peebles keep a very close eye on the forecasts. The difference between rain and significant snow is just a degree or two of temperature. If there's one thing to take away from this forecast, it is this. We in for continued unsettled conditions. The immediate concern is Thursday-s rain for southern areas and Friday-s rain for Northern Ireland and Scotland, with some snow over hills. But the bigger picture is that pattern change potentially arriving in 10 days or so. That could be significant. That could bring the type of cold weather we haven't seen this winter. Or it could fizzle out and we continue with this mild, wet pattern. The models are increasingly aligned, but we are still at the edge of predictability. Now, I know this isn't ideal for anyone who's already dealing with flooding or travel disruption. Unfortunately, the meteorology doesn't care about our preferences. These Atlantic systems are going to continue. What we can do is stay informed, stay prepared, and hopefully by giving you this information clearly, you can make the right decisions for your circumstances. Right then, before we finish, do leave your location in the comments. I genuinely want to provide more localized detail tomorrow, and if there's enough interest in your area, I'll make sure to cover it specifically. The more detail you give me, town or county, the better I can tailor tomorrow's forecast. And if you've been affected by recent flooding or you seeing impacts where you are, please let us know. That real-world information helps everyone understand what's actually happening on the ground. Tomorrow's video will focus heavily on that Friday system and whether it's going to be as significant as some models suggest. I'll also have the latest on that potential cold spell for early February. The midnight runs tonight will be crucial. If we see continued agreement, we'll need to start taking it seriously. If they back off, we'll discuss why. Weather forecasting is constantly evolving, and that's why these daily updates matter. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back tomorrow morning, probably around 7 or 8 o'clock with the latest. The situation is developing, the models are updating every 6 hours, and your forecast will be more accurate tomorrow than it is today. That's just the nature of meteorology. Stay safe, stay dry if you can, and I'll see you again